So what I want to do is I want to finish the day off with two last concepts. And that's really this concept of how do we continually motivate ourselves to achieve our goals. And that's around making sure that our goals are aligned with our values. And then how do we make sure that we succeed at those goals? And that is making sure that our habits actually drive those goals. And to do that, I want to start with the Values Validator, which is essentially a way of shining a light on a goal to say, is it really in tune with my values? Because if it isn't, when it gets tough, you won't do it. And when, like, I've had conversations with people over the years, and they say, oh, you know, I work for this company, I don't really buy into their values, you know, they think that what they're doing for their clients, right? Like, you've got to get yourself away from that sort of environment, because if it doesn't tie in with your values, it will drain you so emotionally going forward that you'll never achieve what you set out to achieve. So yeah, we need to make sure that it really aligns with our values. And one of the people I saw speak over the last 2 or 3 months was Karen Brady. And Karen Brady talked about this really clearly, in that so she was running Chelsea Football Club at the time where they during COVID, and they were the only football club to reduce the players and the directors' salaries by 30% to avoid making anyone redundant, making any of the staff redundant. And she said the reason that we came to that conclusion was because we looked at the values that we're clearly documented and gone, actually, this is the only way that it's the right approach. I know we're the only ones doing it, but actually, this is the thing that ties into our values. And in fact, actually, probably a better example of this was, so John Dutton was the guy that was running the Rugby League World Cup, being in the UK. And it was during COVID times, and they had to sit down and go through, right, do we actually try and run this thing, or do we just cancel the World Cup? He talks about how, as a board of directors, they sat down around the table and went, these are our values. Based on these values, what decision do we make? And he said the only conclusion we could all come to based on the values that were predetermined with regards to that difficult decision was that based on our values, we had to run a World Cup. And they did run the World Cup, and it was a huge success. In fact, it was a phenomenal success in comparison to other Rugby World Cups. Rugby League World Cup, they brought in the women into the same cup as well, and it's why he's an OBE now. So with regards to refining of, are you looking? Thank you. Tell me sooner. Don't worry about interrupting me, because Claire can't hear anything. Thank you. So John Dutton used values to predetermine, or to make it an important decision based on, to shine a light on that decision and clearly guide them to what was the right decision. So what we want to do is we want to pick out what our values are. And actually, what I really like is having a short list of the most important values to me. But I also then think that we can relate each of those values to one of those 6 spheres of success. So the way that you can start doing this is the easiest way, and this is actually a way we've used it before in the Trusted Team, but it's also the way that the 6-minute success journal guides you through it, is to brainstorm what values are the most important values to you. And what you do is you initially pick out the top 12 just by circling the ones that resonate to you. And then you narrow that down to the top 6. And the top 6 are then those most important values. And then what we do is we start to allocate those 6 values to each of the 6 spheres of success. Because that way, because what you'll typically see, and it doesn't all, I actually ended up tweaking I ended up taking one of the 6 and dropping it back in for one of the 12, because it then aligned with that particular sphere of success better. And then finally, it's great to have a priority order, because if you're ever like challenged on a really difficult decision, and you know, well, that priority, that value is more important than this priority, you can then make a decision based on that.